The open road, a ribbon of asphalt unspooling towards the horizon, a promise of adventure, a siren song of freedom. It beckons to us, whispers tales of discovery and self-discovery, of leaving the mundane behind and embracing the unknown. But sometimes the open road leads to places we never expected, to secrets best left buried, to encounters that chill the very marrow. This is one such tale. It begins, as many stories do, with a journey. There was Liam, the driver, his hands steady on the wheel, eyes fixed on the road ahead. A dreamer, a storyteller. He saw the world through a lens of folklore and legend, always searching for the magic hidden in the ordinary. Next to him sat Maya, her gaze lost in the star-dusted expanse beyond the windshield. A pragmatist, grounded and logical, she balanced Liam's flights of fancy with a healthy dose of skepticism. And in the back, headphones clamped over his ears, lost in a world of his own, was Alex, the quiet observer, the artist, capturing the world through sketches and scribbles in his worn-out notebook. Their destination, a forgotten ghost town nestled deep in the Nevada desert, a place whispered to be haunted by the ghosts of gold miners past. It was the perfect adventure, a chance to test their courage, to confront their fears, to create memories that would last a lifetime. As the miles melted away, so did their inhibitions, their laughter echoing through the desolate landscape, a symphony of youthful exuberance oblivious to the darkness lurking just beyond their headlights. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange and blood red. The air grew cooler, the shadows longer, and the desert, once bathed in golden light, took on an eerie, almost menacing aura. They were officially off the beaten path now, their map a crumpled mess, their GPS signal long gone. The road, barely more than a dirt track, snaked through a landscape that seemed to belong on another planet. A desolate expanse of scrubland and twisted Joshua trees, their silhouettes stark against the dying light. Liam, ever the optimist, chuckled, "Getting a bit Blair Witch Project, don't you think?" Maya, her unease growing with each passing mile, shot him a withering look. But even she couldn't deny the prickle of unease that ran down her spine as the last sliver of sun slipped below the horizon, plunging them into an inky blackness broken only by the car's headlights. It was then that they saw it. A figure standing by the side of the road, a silhouette shrouded in shadow, its form shifting and wavering in the heat haze. Liam slammed on the brakes, the car skidding to a halt in a cloud of dust. They stared into the darkness, hearts pounding, breath catching in their throats. The figure was gone. Had they imagined it? A trick of the light, a figment of their overactive imaginations? Maya, ever the voice of reason, suggested it was just a coyote, its eyes reflecting the car's headlights. But Liam wasn't so sure. He could have sworn he saw a flicker of movement, a fleeting glimpse of something that sent a shiver down his spine. They continued on, their previous lighthearted banter replaced by an uneasy silence. The air inside the car felt thick with unspoken tension, the silence punctuated by the crunch of gravel beneath the tires and the distant howl of a coyote. A sense of unease settled over them, a feeling of being watched, of being followed. Every creak of the car, every rustle in the undergrowth sent their pulses racing. The desert, once a symbol of freedom and adventure, now felt oppressive, claustrophobic, a vast and unforgiving wilderness closing in on them. As the night wore on, the strange occurrences continued. Shadows seemed to dance at the edge of the headlight's reach, taking on grotesque and unsettling shapes. The car radio, which had been silent for hours, suddenly crackled to life, a burst of static followed by a haunting melody that seemed to claw its way out from the depths of a forgotten era. Then there were the whispers, soft, indistinct murmurs that seemed to slither from the very air itself, weaving around them like tendrils of smoke. At first they dismissed them as tricks of the mind, the product of exhaustion and overactive imaginations, but as the whispers grew louder, more insistent, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. The desert was alive, pulsating with an unseen energy that sent shivers crawling down their spines. Liam's hands tightened on the steering wheel, his knuckles white. Even Maya, her skepticism wavering, couldn't deny the growing sense of dread that had taken root in her gut. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. They were in over their heads, and they knew it. They stumbled upon it just after midnight, a dilapidated wooden shack, its paint peeling, windows boarded up. It looked like it hadn't been inhabited for decades, Yet a faint light flickered from within, casting long, eerie shadows that danced across the dirt. Desperate for answers, for any semblance of normalcy in the increasingly surreal situation, they decided to investigate. As they approached the shack, the whispers intensified, swirling around them like a vortex of tormented souls. The air grew heavy, thick with the stench of decay and the metallic tang of blood. A chill wind whipped through the dilapidated structure, whistling through the gaps in the boarded-up windows, carrying with it the whispers, now clear as day, pleading, warning, turn back, get out, it's not safe. Liam, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and morbid curiosity, reached for the doorknob. It was ice-cold to the touch, sending a jolt of fear through him. The door creaked open, revealing a single dusty room lit by a flickering oil lamp. Dust motes danced in the dim light, revealing glimpses of long-abandoned belongings. A rusted pickaxe leaning against the wall, a tattered map splayed across a rickety table, a child's doll lying discarded in the corner, its porcelain face cracked and staring blankly into the void. And then they saw them. The names. Scrawled on the walls, etched into the wooden floorboards, were dozens, maybe hundreds of names, each one accompanied by a date. Some were recent, others dated back decades, perhaps even a century. These were the names of those who had traveled this road before them, who had stumbled upon this desolate shack, who had sought shelter within its crumbling walls. But where were they now? The question hung heavy in the air, unspoken but palpable. Panic welled up inside Liam. He had to get out, had to escape this nightmare. He turned to tell his friends, but the words died in his throat. Maya stood frozen, her eyes wide with terror, staring at something behind him. He spun around, his heart pounding in his chest. Standing in the doorway, silhouetted against the moonlight, was a figure shrouded in shadow. It was tall and gaunt, its features obscured by the darkness, but Liam could sense its eyes fixed on him, cold and lifeless. And then it spoke. Its voice was a low growl, a guttural rasp that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the earth. "You shouldn't be here," it hissed, its words echoing in the silence of the shack. Liam's mind raced. He had to do something, anything, to get them out of there alive. He glanced around frantically, searching for a weapon, an escape route, anything. And that's when he saw it, a glint of metal beneath the table, catching the flickering lamplight. It was a small silver locket, tarnished with age. He lunged for it, his fingers closing around its cool, smooth surface. As soon as he touched it, a jolt of energy surged through him, and the locket began to glow with an eerie, otherworldly light. The shadowy figure recoiled, hissing in pain. "No!" it shrieked, its voice filled with rage and fear. "Don't touch that!" But it was too late. The locket pulsed with warmth in Liam's hand, and the shack around them began to dissolve, the walls shimmering and fading like a mirage. The shadowy figure lunged for Liam, but he raised the locket in defiance, its light intensifying, bathing the room in an ethereal glow. The figure let out an ear-splitting scream, its form contorting, twisting in on itself as the light washed over it. Then, with a final, agonizing wail, it vanished, leaving behind nothing but a faint wisp of smoke and the lingering scent of decay. Liam, Maya, and Alex found themselves back on the desert road, the shack gone, the night eerily silent save for the sound of their own ragged breathing. They were safe for now, but the experience had changed them, branded them with a fear that ran deeper than any scar. As they drove away, the rising sun painting the eastern sky in hues of gold and crimson, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that they hadn't seen the last of that place, that the desert held onto its secrets tightly, and some secrets were not meant to be uncovered. Later, as they sat in a diner attempting to process the events of the night, Liam finally opened the locket. Inside he found a small, faded photograph of a young woman, her face etched with a sadness that mirrored his own. On the back, scrawled in faded ink, were the words, "Forever Bound." It was then that Liam understood. The shack, the whispers, the shadowy figure. They were all connected to the locket, to the woman in the photograph, to a story of love, loss, and a desperate attempt to hold on to the past. The road trip that began with such promise had become a descent into a nightmare, a chilling reminder that some roads are best left untraveled, some secrets best left buried. As they continued their journey, leaving the desert and its horrors behind, they carried with them the weight of the locket, the memory of the shadowy figure, and the chilling realization that some stories don't have endings, only echoes that linger long after the final page has been turned. And somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of the Nevada desert, the shack stands silent, waiting for the next unsuspecting travelers to stumble upon its doorstep, drawn in by the flickering light, forever bound to repeat the cycle of terror.